Welcome to the Think Before You Post podcast, where we talk about digital citizenship and anything else we find that's fun and entertaining on the internet. I am Christina Jantra, and you are?
Paula Evans.
And you are?
And Therese Brandt.
All right, welcome. Ladies, this episode, we're going to address the question that I get asked most often. And I don't think that in one episode we will put this question to bed, answer it completely to satisfy everyone.
No.
But we will give all the information that we have. I will say that this episode comes with one disclaimer, and that is, no judgment.
Right.
No judgment, no condemnation for how you decide to do it in your house. We're just answering this question from our own experience as parents who have raised kids in this digital age, as educators who finished our teaching careers with all these devices. It's from that we are making these comments.
Good
but
disclaimer.
Please hear no condemnation. So the question is, at what age should I give my child their first cell phone? So,
Great question.
it's a great question. I'm glad
Everyone asked.
It's a great question. I'm glad you asked. I can't do Elise Myers, but she's the reason I have TikTok. So the question, look, my fast answer is this, and I'll say it to parents, and I'll look them in the eye when I say it. One, it's your decision. Because every kid is different, maturity, all that, responsibility, all that. But my real answer is, it's the right time to give your kid a cell phone when you're ready for their childhood to be over. And but
it's the truth.
It seems harsh, but when you really pause to think about it,
Yes.
it really is.
Why?
It really is true.
Why do you think it's true?
Because your kids are, in my mind, I think just in a basic way, if my 9-year-old has now gone from playing Barbies in her bedroom, having friends over and playing Barbies, and that's just an example because my girls loved Barbies. So if I give her a cell phone at 9 years old, guess what? She's no longer playing Barbies. She's on a phone and she's on Snapchat.
Well, and
TikTok,
there's
she's opening herself up.
You're opening so many doors.
Exactly, that's
so
just
many
it.
possibilities for others to come in and influence them.
So that innocence, there's an innocence there
is
that's
gone.
no
It's
longer
gone.
there.
You can't control.
You can't get that back.
Right.
You
It's
can't
gone.
get that back.
Can't. I think that's the thing.
It's like remember they talk about the old toothpaste out of the tube.
Yeah.
Once
You
it's
can't-
out there, you can't get it back in the tube.
It's
Yeah,
done.
because you can't control the exposure.
That's just it.
I mean,
and you can put parental controls on your phone,
Absolutely.
and you should.
you should.
But when your kid is at someone else's house or away from you, you're not always able to.
I mean, think of how we parent in real life, in face to face. We're really careful about whose house our kids go to. We were all really careful and particular about what school our kids went to. I mean, I know you and I did. I don't know about you, but it was a year-to-year thing. It was like
every year evaluate.
It wasn't like, I made this. We're going to go K through 12 here. It was almost a year-to-year thing. Is this still the right? And yet, we don't have those deep, thoughtful. Often, we don't have those deep, thoughtful kind of questions about the devices we give our kids, of where it's going to take them and what they're going to do. I mean, one of the things I love the most about Neptune Navigate are our Continue the Conversation
For
videos
parents.
and discussion questions we have for parents. Because one of the discussion questions on our module on social media, I think it's for junior high, is, as a family, discuss what pictures are appropriate to post on social media and what aren't. Because from what I see on social media, I don't think a lot of families are having that
That conversation.
really important discussion. I mean, I even say, when I talk to mom groups, especially mom groups with little, like as young as I can get them, is what are you posting about your kid?
Oh, what is the mom posting about their kid on social media?
Yeah. Like, don't
good
discuss
question.
if your kid's struggling wetting the bed, don't post
Don't
that.
post, no.
Don't ask your Facebook followers, that. Sorry, I got off track with that one.
Yeah.
But the phone.
Okay.
Is there any reason that we can see an elementary student having a cell phone? I'll go specific, a smartphone.
No. And we kind of talked about in our family, once they started playing sports and had practices and, practice times might change. I mean, they still don't have to have one, but that's when the conversation started.
Yeah, when they started traveling.
Yeah.
Like when they were going to
Yeah.
get on the bus and go
Yeah.
to a game.
We're going to be 2 hours
Right.
late. We're
Right.
gonna- yeah.
That kind of thing. Yeah.
However, I will say that the adults on that bus, the coach has their own phone.
True.
Right.
So you could do that.
That's true.
And it drives me crazy now that all of the bus companies here in our town, I think it's 100% now, by now, they all have Wi-Fi on the buses.
Yeah.
And I could almost guarantee you, though I haven't tried this, I can almost guarantee you it's unfiltered internet.
Oh, wow.
So-
I bet you're right.
Yeah, I bet you're right.
Because what motivation would they have? So
Why would they do that?
So when I talk to parents about who are trying to make that decision, here's one tip I always give them is whatever amount of money you're going to spend for the phone and for that monthly plan, budget more money for monitoring and filtering software, especially on that first phone. First of all, how about that first phone not be a smartphone?
Yeah. A dumb phone is fine.
A dumb phone is fine. You might have to look harder for it, like a track phone.
Yeah.
They still sell those.
Surely they
Yeah.
do.
It's probably not
I
an
think-
actual flip.
But I do think that you bring up a good point at the elementary level. As an elementary teacher, I think a lot of parents see that as a toy, that they get it and they're not really using it for emergency purposes. They're just downloading apps.
Entertainment.
It's entertainment. It's entertainment. So it's a smaller device than an iPad. I can take it to the restaurant with me, and I have a babysitter. My
Which in itself is not a good thing.
my mom calls it the pacifier.
And she's right.
It is. It's a digital pacifier.
Yeah,
because it keeps
so-
the kids quiet.
Right. And so there's that. So when I was teaching elementary school, that was a lot of it. The kids had it, but they didn't have anything except apps to play games on it.
Well, and I think you shared this recently, and this picture has made its rounds. So an elementary teacher, and I can't remember what grade it was. It was really early. It was somewhere kindergarten to third grade. It wasn't above third grade. It was the teacher who on her big piece of paper
Oh, yeah.
did a hash mark
Yes.
every time a child's phone a notification sound
Yeah. In class that
in
day.
class.
in class that day, and it was of many interruptions.
Yep.
Many interruptions, and that was a problem. And I remember when Grayson was in like third grade, there was a little boy in her class who got a phone, and his notification sound was the ESPN da-na-na, da-na-na. And even though he had been told, you're not supposed to have a phone, turn it off, every day there would be at least one, because a third grader, a second grader doesn't have that executive
Right.
function part of the brain to know, oh, I'm in school, I should turn it off.
Right.
Right.
Heck, I see people at funerals, at weddings, at church,
Oh.
who in the middle of a solemn, event, phones are still going off. It
And
just-
loud.
That's a whole nother episode.
That's a whole nother episode.
Kinsey, if you're watching, another episode is going to be on phone etiquette,
etiquette.
because boy, do I have a
Yeah.
long list.
In public places.
Yeah.
But that's a consideration as you're thinking about giving your kid a phone. could you sit down with them and talk
Yeah.
about etiquette?
Yes.
That you don't
Yeah.
have to answer you don't have to bring the phone to the dinner table. You just don't. You don't.
And you don't have to take it everywhere you go.
You don't have to take it everywhere you go. No, and so that brings up, and we even talked about it for a moment this morning. A lot of parents' motivation for their kids to have a phone and take it to school is fear.
Yes.
And yet, I've talked to at least 2 law enforcement people in 2 different cities. One was a very small town, which has a very funny name, but I'm just not going to say it. And then one was a larger metropolitan area. And both of those police officers said, if there's a shooting at your kid's school, the kids with the phones are the most vulnerable.
And now tell why.
Because when they're trying to move kids to a safer place, the kids that are on their phone, the kids that are frantically trying to text, and I get that.
Oh, yeah.
I get that you want to be, if that's going to be the last time you get to talk to your kid, you want to do that. But if it makes them safer to not be doing that,
Yeah.
and it's hard. But if it makes them safer to not have that phone so that they can be focusing on getting from dangerous place to safe place,
Yeah.
and that's a hard discussion. And if you have an opposite view, let us hear it. And we can have that discussion. And maybe we should talk to one of our police officer friends about that. That might be interesting.
That would be a good guess.
But when your kids do have a phone, we have some guidelines, some suggestions.
Yes.
We do.
How about that?
Yes, suggestions.
My number one suggestion is about boundaries. And could you just, if everybody in the house is going to have a device, at whatever level that device is, could we just agree that nobody takes, or that the kids don't take those devices into their bedrooms
Yes.
and close the door?
Yes. Yes. Hard yes.
And can I just throw this out there?
Absolutely.
Just real quick, okay? As a mom, okay, and our youngest is leaving for college this month.
Let us pray.
Let us pray. Yeah. I have a little bit of tension here only because I did not implement a lot of these things in my household, so I feel a little bit like hypocritical saying. But I need to just say this out loud that I realize the importance of
Yes,
this now.
yeah.
That
Yeah,
I missed my
yeah,
window.
right.
Does
Yeah.
that make
Yes.
sense? I missed my window.
And
And so
Yes.
I see the importance of it now, which is why I'm like nodding my head,
Well, it's
going,
kinda like
yes,
with
yes, yes.
Hindsight's 20/20.
Sure.
And you get
learn from our
Yeah.
mistakes. And look, this
Yes.
first one, shout out to Holly. This first one comes straight
Yeah.
from Holly. Because Holly would say, and you can go back and listen to episode number 1 and find out about Holly, but she would say, if I just didn't take my laptop into my room and close the door,
yeah.
Yeah.
everything that happened, maybe it wouldn't have. It could have saved me that experience. So these are, and like I said from the beginning, suggestions.
Right.
Let me just give you
Right.
some suggestions. But did I do all of these perfectly? Absolutely not. This is over the course of the last 8 years of talking to parents and kind of crowdsourcing. Hey, how are you handling the devices in
Yes.
your homes? And for the parents like Madison and Drew, before you have this kid, can we just give you some ideas to think about? And you're going to do it differently at your house.
Yes.
And seeing the downfalls, seeing pitfalls
Absolutely.
that other people
Right.
have gone through
Right.
that have gone, ooh,
Right.
yeah, the pitfalls that have led us to
This point.
these points.
Yeah.
Yes,
What was
exactly.
number 2 on the list?
It was put your phones away at bedtime. No
For
staying
sleep-
up all night
so that you
for
can, because
sleep.
it does affect
Yeah.
your sleep pattern.
Go back to episode 9. Look, the research shows, and I think we even skipped that in episode 9, so I'll bring it up now in this episode. The lights and all the movement of the screen is making our brains fire constantly, and so it is impacting melanin production in our brains. It is interrupting our natural circadian rhythm. So if your kid is struggling with insomnia, you might not know it if they're able to take their devices into their rooms and close the door. But it would be highly recommended to give their brains a rest, to put phones to bed at night, put devices to bed at night.
Well, and I can remember as a 6th grade teacher hearing students talk, because they talk when they think you're not listening. Sure. And they would talk about the text messages or tweets that were being shot off at 2 or 3 in the morning, because, once it starts, if they'd not had their phones in their room, they never would have known. Nobody ever would have started it to begin with, because once it starts, you got to keep it going.
They got to keep the streak going.
Yeah.
Look, I'll never forget asking a little 7th grader. It was the year Fortnite first came out, and I was just asking a group of 7th grade boys, how long each day do you play? And this little boy tells me, completely serious, that he's playing 6 hours a day. And I said, Bud, how do you find the time? I mean, you're at school, however many hours, 8 hours is school. When do you have time? He was getting up every morning. Now, this was when it first hit.
Okay.
At 6 a.m. And he'd play a couple of hours in the morning. And I was like, does that not wake up everybody else in your house? Well, no, because it's in his room. He's doing it quietly with his door shut.
In his room.
And I'm like, I don't know if that's setting you up to be successful on the school day. No condemnation here, no judgment, but I don't know.
Just an observation.
Just observation.
It's an observation.
What's
Number three, when friends are over, take up their phones.
Yeah. Put them in a basket and everybody's phone is in one area. That way, everybody's in the same boat.
Yes.
Have you seen that when they all get together and they're all over? Hey, can I have friends over? Can I have friends over? And they all get in the room and they're all in one room all on their phones together.
It's a very well. It may have made the New York Times bestseller list, but it's a really good book, Together Alone, and it's that idea of we're together, but we're all on our devices doing things. Who knows what? I will say a caveat to that, because I've been recommending that for a number of years, and I learned there was a switch about 4 or 5 years ago where that recommendation became controversial.
Why?
Because if I bought my kid a phone, they need to have it all. I need to be able to get to them all the time. And so if you're going to do that, if you're going to implement that at your house, you need to let the parents know that that's what you're going to do.
True.
Let
that's
them
true.
know
Let the
and
parents
say,
know.
here's my cell number.
Yeah.
If you need
Well, it's
something,
not like
call
you're locking
me.
it up. I mean, they could come by and get it anyway.
They're trusting you enough to let their kid come spend the night at your house.
I didn't say spend the night. I just said come over.
Okay, just
hang
come over.
out.
Just
so you
come
can
over.
force them to face-to-face interact.
Yeah.
But also, I mean, the taking up the phone, I don't know if it's on this list also, but when we discuss amongst us is just when you go out to dinner as a family, or when you're at home having dinner as a family.
Please teach your kids how to act in a restaurant.
Well, that's,
Yes. Thank you.
Yeah. It's not the
Thank
babysitter.
you. That's,
And
again,
if you're not going to, could you at least send them with headphones
So everybody else
So I
doesn't
don't
have
have
to
to-
listen to the stupid game.
so I don't have to listen to Coco Melon?
Yeah. Or
Yeah.
come
Whatever.
see me. I'll pay for your babysitter.
Like, I'm thinking I need to start carrying headphones around with me.
It's crazy.
It's crazy. What's number 4?
Number 4 is look at their phone, look at their photos, their apps, their friends, their followers. This is not an invasion of privacy.
Can I speak to this one? Because, and we talked about how you were talking about being hypocritical, because I think I was the one who brought that up. And I understand your point. Here's what I would like to tell parents. At the very beginning, I told my kids, I'm paying for this phone. I'm letting you use it. It's mine. I own it. I will be looking through it to look at their pictures, their photos, who's following them, who they're following, what apps they have downloaded. But here's where it got sticky. As long as I was being actively doing that, it was part of the routine. It was expected. But when I quit, when I laid off or forgot about it,
awkward.
it was very awkward. And it was much more difficult to go back and start it up again.
Because they thought you were suspecting something.
Exactly.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
Exactly.
I can see that.
And don't do it in secret.
No, do it out in front of them so
Do
they
it out
know.
in front, and do it in the spirit as a conversation, and in the spirit of, it's my job as a parent to protect All
Yeah.
of you, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health, all of that. And this device is impacting all of those pieces.
Yes. Yeah.
Number 5.
Yeah, that's good. Number 5, pay to block porn.
Please pay to block porn. Please. The age of first exposure to pornography is getting younger and younger. It used to be 11. Now it's down to 8. Once you see some things, you just can't unsee them. And what I always say goes along. So pay. Yes, there are free options out there, but free is going to get you what free gets you. So please pay. Bark is a great one. MobiSip is another great one. And Circle is another one. There are lots of them on the market. Do your research. Watch reviews on YouTube about these. And when you watch a YouTube video about one of those monitoring apps, also look at the YouTube videos where kids teach other kids how to get around those, because none of them are 100%.
Right.
And because none of them are 100%, you need to talk to your kids about sex. That's all we're going to say about that. So,
Great. That's a great way to end a segment.
so I get to tell what's the best thing I saw on the internet in the last week. And I don't know when this episode's going to air, but this will still be the best thing I've seen this summer. Our friend Sharon McMahon at Sharon Says So, her Instagram community raised in one weekend
Amazing.
$1.2 million for teacher grants. So she did it last year, and she just said on a whim, I think, what if we just try to get $1 million? So she got $1.2 million. She's sending out $500 teacher grants to 2,000 teachers, and by this point, it's all closed. All of the grants are being given out, but she values teachers. Her community values teachers. And nothing made me more happy than to open up my Venmo and send money to Sharon McMahon. So,
Absolutely.
tell us your,
Okay.
is this a stupid idea?
Is this a stupid idea? Okay, this thing is called puppy tweets. All right. First
I
thing
already know my decision before
Okay.
you even
Just
said
calling
anything.
it that.
All right. So the first thing you have to do, everybody, is you have to open up a Twitter account for your puppy, your pet.
We need
okay.
to stop there. and
Well,
vote.
I mean, we could stop there, but there's
Go ahead.
more.
Explain. But
Much
yet there's
more. And then you buy a puppy tweet tag to put on your dog's collar. And every time it detects a bark, a movement, anything that your puppy does, it will automatically post one of 500 preloaded tweets from your pet's
just
Twitter page.
incredibly
And your
stupid.
dog, remember, your dog does have to have his or her own Twitter account to participate.
Wow.
And some of the preloaded phrases are, I caught my own tail. I miss you.
Wow.
yeah, that's really awesome.
That just
Right,
elevated
Leo.
the value of Twitter. Maybe Elon Musk will want to again purchase Twitter
it now.
now that we know that that's
Because that's
going
to be a
on.
real person doing
So
that.
what say you? Is that a stupid
Well,
idea?
this was a difficult decision to make, but I'm going to go with, yeah, that's really stupid.
That's stupid.
okay.
That's
All right.
stupid.
It's unanimous.
All right, that does it again for this episode of the Think Before You Post podcast. Thanks for joining us, and we would love it if you would subscribe, go over to Apple and rate us. Remember, we only want 5-star ratings because we're sensitive people. So that is all. Maybe we answered the question of when should I give my kid a cell phone. If we didn't answer it for you, reach out to us and
Send us your questions.
send us your questions. Thanks for joining us. We'll see you next time.